There's Vince.
Hi, Vince.
Hello. Thank you so much for being here with us. Vince, as we mentioned before, is a licensed marriage and family therapist. As I said, he's a little bit of a unicorn that not only is he a licensed marriage and family therapist, but he is also someone who for many years worked as a behavior technician, worked in the field of ABA, doing one-to-one ABA. And sometimes you still supervise, isn't that right, Vince?
I still supervise 5 cases, yeah.
There you go. So you are uniquely qualified to address some of the concerns that our parents have. We had talked a little bit the other day about the fact that it's a really stressful time for caregivers. They're hitting the wall. And I think they all thought, oh, we're just starting to get back to school. It's going to get better. And now schools are closing early. Schools are going back to distance learning. And I'm hearing from parents, Nancy, I don't know if you are too, that they're like, I just don't know how much more of this I can do.
Yeah, I think everybody is stretched really thin, and people were expecting a bit of a break with Thanksgiving. And what we're finding is we have to make special arrangements for Thanksgiving, that maybe our plans were thwarted of having family over, because they're recommending now, of course, to just keep it your immediate family. And as you say, going back to distance learning for some families that maybe had their kiddos off to school is another adjustment that might be having to be made. So Vince, are you finding a lot of stress in the families you work with?
Yeah, I think in coming from all different angles, right? I mean, some of it's the school angle, some of it is the lack of family gatherings, family support, family collaboration that people have around the holidays. I had a really, really wonderful conversation with a parent yesterday in regards to, the holidays are the time for family unity, family gatherings, family, get-togethers, and how are they going to do that with all the mandates, regulations, and so forth, going across all the United States, right? Not only here in California, but pretty much all the states across the board and around the world. So we talked about different ways of getting together, different ways of being safe, different ways of using protocols and PPEs, the protective gear and stuff like that to make them feel comfortable. And I think every situation, there's a solution. There's a solution to easing anxiety, increasing family awareness and family communication, as well as, making it so that we can enjoy these modified holidays.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, we had talked about this a little bit last week, Nancy and I, that I think our circumstances are different. I'm really used to spending Thanksgiving alone because my husband almost always has to work. This is actually the first time in, I think, maybe our marriage that he doesn't have to work on Thanksgiving Day. So for me, it's like I get to have my husband on Thanksgiving Day, but I think for a lot of people, it's the one holiday when they can get together with families. Like maybe they can't during other holidays. So it's really rough. But we decided that we were going to do a thing, even though normally we say, no devices at the table. We're bringing all of our devices to the table, and my son will be on one device with one family. I'll be on another device with another family, and then we'll be able to talk to everybody from our different devices. So at least it'll feel like we're having dinner with them. I don't know. It might turn out to be just a nightmare of people talking over each other, but we're going to make the attempt.
Right.
Right.
That's great, because it's those attempts, it's those, those little moments, this isn't going to be the same. We have to embrace that. We have to embrace it's not going to be the same. We have to embrace that it's not going to have the physical connection we typically are used to. But it's the little moments of seeing grandma and grandpa, seeing aunts and uncles, seeing nieces and nephews and so forth, even if it's just for a brief 15, 20, 30 minutes, that we're going to remember, right? Because we're still going to bond, we're still going to communicate, we're still going to have some type of a connection if it's possible, than if it's nothing, completely, alone and not seeing the people we typically see. So I love the idea. I highly encourage it, because now with most platforms, you can have multiple people at multiple times, and everybody's seeing as we're doing right now, right? Everyone's seeing each other at the same time, and we can all interact on our own device, and everyone gets to see it. And again, if we go in with the interpretation that it's going to be the same, or it should equal the same, we're letting ourselves down. We have to go in, no, with the new expectation, just like you were just saying, Jen. Let's see how it goes. I mean, it's not going to hurt either way. It's just going to give us a whole new experience with everybody, which is going to be funny. It's going to be silly because people aren't going to know what to do. You're going to get the typical, oh, I didn't unmute, and all this stuff that we see, and that's just going to make a new memory, and we're going, and it'll be something that we remember and hopefully be able to cherish as we move on, because it's anticipated, and again, nobody knows for sure, but it's anticipated that this is just this year, right? This is just the pandemic holiday of 2020, which is pretty much the entire year. And next year we'll be able to talk about, wasn't that funny last year when we were on Zoom and we all got to, see each other, and wasn't that fun, that kind of thing. So these are going to make memories, and I think if we embrace that and cherish that, it gives us a better attitude and maybe a little bit less anxiety heading into the holidays.
I'm as concerned about, I'm concerned for people and how they're feeling about the holidays, but I'm also equally, if not more concerned about everyone as far as the distance learning, because you know, I've heard so many people who be a little bit judgy, but for a lot of parents, for a lot of caregivers, the period of time in which our children went to school was our break. That was the period of time in which we had, we would work really hard in the IEP to make sure that our child was safe at school and taken care of in an enriching environment. And that was like a full-time job getting that done. But while they were there, it was our opportunity to take a breath, take care of life, work, do all the things that we needed to do. And sometimes that was a treadmill, but at least it was that respite. And having taken that off the table, some people it's been off the table since the beginning. Other people it was off the table and they just went back to school, and now it's being taken off the table again. And I almost feel like for those people, it's that much harder. For those of us who've been home the whole time with our students, it's like, well, we're still home. It's not great, but we didn't get our hopes up, get the kiddos off to school, and now being told that it's being taken off the table. I'm worried for our caregivers about that, Vince. What advice do you have for them about being able to get a break? Just from, we love our kids, but when they're constantly with us and on us, I'm hearing parents who are like, I would like 5 minutes to myself.
Right. I fully agree. I mean, I think school is, for the mental well-being of not only the family, but the kids as well. School is good, right? They're around their peers, or they're doing activities that they enjoy. And a lot of times they're experiencing a lot of good, new stuff. And that's where a lot of the, generalization of their learning, happens. And it's a good break for them as well, right? Because they too are getting those socialization with other peers, the learning from different modes of medium and so forth. But hammering your point home about the mental well-being of the families, 100% agree. And I think this is one of the reasons why it's essential that we use the term physical distancing over social distancing, right? Because I think right now we need as much social interaction and social support as possible. Now, for those who can get people or relatives or neighbors or babysitters to come and able, respite workers, and able to help watch their child and supervise their child while they're able to go to the grocery store or run errands or drive to the park and sit under a tree, right? And do some mindfulness to be able to bring, some comfort and calming their anxieties. Those are all very necessary. And I would definitely ask for the work with your professionals, your ABA professionals, or your other professionals on how to get some of that. But look for it, right? Ask for those supports if they're available to you. And the other thing, going back to what I was saying about social distancing, versus, physical distancing. This is not the time to not be social. I get more concerned with people who actually are isolated and isolating by pure isolation, meaning that they're not connected to anybody around them in any means. This is creating a lot of, different emotions and different types of emotional issues that are coming up with families because they're not connected to their grandparents, going back to what we're saying about the holiday table, not connecting with their resources, not connecting with their friends and coworkers, not connecting with their schoolmates and peers. That needs to happen in some shape or form, not only for the growth and promotion of everybody's mental health and well-being, but also because it keeps everybody connected and it gives us that to look forward to. So I know I just kind of threw a lot of stuff out there. So there's a lot of different, in specific situations that come up. And I think with the help of your professionals, there can be some solutions, to help ease anxieties, ease some depressive or, depression that people may be feeling by the isolation, and help connect with loved ones and friends again.
Right. You bring up a good point that a lot of people are isolated from coworkers. There are a lot of people that have had to quit their jobs during this time to
Yeah.
stay home with their kids. So then we have the added stress of that for many families. And then there's the financial ramifications of that, the financial hardships that a lot of families are going through now.
Right. Right. Yeah. And right now, I mean, and again, with not knowing if stimulus packages are coming through and unemployment, right, that's a financial burden that a lot of families are hiding, because it's personal and that's
Right.
stuff that they have to deal with. But that's where that mindfulness and that time alone and that time to process and kind of plan is so necessary.
Yeah.
Absolutely so much necessary. And that's where a lot of, from what I'm seeing, and I can only speak anecdotally based on my experience, a lot of families still have a difficulty asking for help,
Yeah.
asking for, can someone watch their child for an hour or two? And I think we all have experienced that at some point in our lives, in our child rearing. But this is the time to embrace. This is the time that everyone's reaching out and doing what they can for one another, because we're all experiencing, terrible times in the time of the pandemic.
And I think for families, if for some reason you can't do that, I can think of some people that are isolated and there is no one who can come and spend an hour. I hear a lot of people being so concerned about how much screen time their kids are getting. Because in the past, if somebody needed a break, we would say, put a Disney movie on.
Mhm.
Like it's not gonna, harm them. But I know people are worried about the cumulative screen time. But we were just talking the other day with Dr. Grampiche that all screen time is not created equally,
Right.
that there are some games like Camp Discovery that the young kids can be playing on their iPad that they get very involved in, and they're having just a regular hoot nanny playing it, but they're really doing high quality ABA therapy while they're doing it. And that's ideal for when, you can give them the iPad for that and be sitting far away in the room, and doing, something else, whether it's paint your toenails or doing a mindfulness exercise or yoga, or whatever. But I also think that the Disney movies are not the worst thing for our kids. That I actually think they're a really good thing. They teach really wonderful lessons, and everything on PBS Kids, and they
Right.
have stuff up through, for young adults on PBS Kids. So I don't know. I'm more willing to have them do educational screen time, as a way for parents to give a break. What do you guys think about that?
I think that's a great idea because parents can't be everywhere. So, you got to cut yourself a break and maybe bend the rules a little bit, like you say, Shannon, with the screen time, as long as it has some redeeming value. I think a lot of parents need that. Interesting, while we were talking, I just got an email that Wyatt's therapy hours have been reauthorized. We thought they might not be, and I was sweating bullets about that because when he's in ABA, it's a time for me to get other things done. And I know that that's a time for a lot of parents to get things done. when their child is in their ABA therapy. But I think Shannon, relying on like Disney Kids, like you said, has some PBS Kids, I mean, has some pretty good shows on that parents can take advantage of. And there's some other outlets as well. And I don't know, I watch a lot more things with Wyatt now, whereas, you know, we do it together and we use it as a learning opportunity.
You said you guys like Cobra Kai, right?
Yeah, we like
We
that.
haven't started watching that. You like it? Vince? Okay, I gotta watch that. But how do you feel about the screen time, Vince?
For me, I agree with everything you guys are saying. For me, it really comes down to scheduling, right? Scheduling your day so that it's predictable, not only for the child, but it's predictable for the families as well, because now you can organize when you're going to do things, when you're going to be able to, finish a task or answer an email, return a phone call, pay a bill, when we need to do, our adulting, right? So when you have a schedule, we now have less anxiety because we know exactly when we're going to do things, right? So we can say, okay, we're gonna get up, do the morning routine, and then have you watch PBS Kids for an hour. Now, as a parent, I know that's my time to go and talk to the doctor, or talk to the supervisor, or talk to my contractor that's redoing our patio or whatever, right? And so you're able now to predict how the day is going to go and how you're going to use that screen time, what screen time you can use, right? This is going to be a time we're going to watch it together, like Nancy was saying. Great interaction. But this is going to be a time where we're going to put on Camp Discovery and have them do some learning and some gameplay along with a couple other learning games. Great, right? And then this is going to be the time where we do our activities. This is the time where they're going to be in ABA. This is the time where we'll go ahead and watch a movie, and now I can go ahead and do some other errands and things I need to do. So the idea for me is, if the screen time is structured and scheduled, and again, all parents want our kids to watch things that are either educational, there's going to be learning, they're good for good viewing, send good messages, and we can actually structure that for them so that it gives us the predictability of our day, it gives the kids the predictability of their day, and we're able to still monitor and time how much time they are having with screens.
A viewer has written in, and I had to get a translation on it, but they had said that they recommended us to somebody and said they used to just be on Fridays, but now I see they're doing videos more often. I just want to let everybody know that we're live now Monday through Friday. So so great to have you here with us. And somebody said, Michelle said, thank you so much for letting us know this information, Vince. It's a tough time, no matter how you slice it. And I think what's unique is that, and somebody we love just said there are several online educational resources.
Somebody that happens to be related to somebody who was on the show. Somebody, Debbie Redmond.
And that reminds me that I want to say something, that we started a fundraiser for Autism Live last night on my Facebook for Autism Care Today. And so if you would like to make a donation, we're raising money for iPads for this holiday season for individuals on the autism spectrum. So it's on my Facebook. If you want to make a donation, anybody who's out there, if you have spare change, you want to feel better. I know some of you already did. And so Debbie says hi. Of course, we're talking about Vince's wife, Debbie. Thrilled that she is here with us, and she's a great resource for educational things. So Debbie, if you want to hit us with anything specific, we're tuned in for what you're saying. And Traven wants us to know that we've raised $346 overnight for an iPad. So that's great.
Excellent.
So that's almost one iPad at that point. But we also like to load them with Proloquo and things like that. So if you got spare change, there is no donation of any size that is too small. We look forward to it. And Debbie
And you
just
can
gave
go to
me,
act-today.org as well to get more information on that.
thank you, Debbie. And thank you, Nancy. So, so back to what we were talking about with families and how difficult this is. I think that one of the things that's really hard, somebody put it really well that I was listening to, because they said, well, we're all in the same boat. And someone said, no, we're all in the same ocean. Everybody's boat is different. And the pack of issues that people have is so unique in this, that one person might have, a kiddo who's loving the isolation and they're worried about how am I going to get them out when this is over. Another person may have somebody who's got a kiddo who's like, I can't stand it. I'm trying to walk out the front door every day. So makes it really hard because we always want to be mindful that we don't know what your specific issues are, but everybody's got it. As I talk to families, there's always something that's unique, Vince, that I think is making it specifically hard. Are you seeing that too, you guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen some families that, like you say, their kiddos are really loving being at home, being on screen, not having to go out and interact. And that can have its own problems because then your kid could not want to reintegrate at some point. We could get really used to this.
Yeah, I'm going to be hard to get back out into society because I like being at home. And I think we've done a fairly good job of at least once a month, we either host or go to a Zoom party with a bunch of people, and it's not always the same people. We've reconnected. I had 2 reunions, one that was a high school reunion and one that was a graduate school reunion over the summer, and reconnected with people I hadn't talked to in years. So I might be more social in this isolation than I normally am.
Yeah, you've been really good, Shannon. And you've even arranged for Jem to have a birthday party online that's coming up.
Well, Jim is for Big Jim. We offered for Jim, and he was like, I don't want to do that. But we've been to many Zoom birthday parties. We've been to many events. Last night I was watching the Media Access Awards online, an event that I've always wanted to go to, and it's always at a time when I can't go, but there it was online, and I got to be, there, front row, center. It was amazing. Can I just tell you guys, it was like so uplifting and amazing. It opened with a gentleman who was tap dancing, who has a literal peg leg.
Wow.
So he was tap dancing, and he was some kind of good. And I would have missed that if it was just a live event that was being held at a hotel in Beverly Hills, because I find it hard to go to those things. So, for me, I've sort of loved the access that we've had to things, and that more people are more willing to do things online. Zoom is my friend. And my son has done some of those things as well with his friends. I will say that.
You did a great party, a karaoke party, which was just great fun, Shannon. I really enjoyed that.
Right.
Well, but and everybody was like, how are you going to do that? And we were like, we don't know, but we're going to figure it out as we go. But my husband has been doing plays online, Zoom plays. In fact, my husband and my son wrote one, and I got to be in it. Right. So because we would have lost our minds if we hadn't. But that was our unique thing to find what works for us. And I think it's not a one size fits all. Hey, I also want to bring up that Debbie mentioned there's a really great way for you to be able to donate to Act Today on a regular basis. If you haven't already, if you go to smile.amazon.com, you can pick the charity of your choice. Of course, we're encouraging you to pick Autism Care Today. And then what happens is anytime you go to purchase something on Amazon, a little thing will pop up and say, hey, would you like to do this through Smile to redirect you? You purchase it. You're still buying it from Amazon, but it goes through the Smile app. And then Act Today or the other charity that you choose gets a percentage of that sale. I have to tell you, it's a very small percentage, but with everything that everybody's buying on Amazon, it adds up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great thing to do. So smile.amazon.com, and then you would pick Autism Care Today as your preferred charity, and then just make sure every time you use Amazon that it gives you a pop-up, and you can click it, and it's super easy.
Right. And the
So
great thing about that is you spend no more money than you
yeah,
would buying your things through Amazon, and Amazon's the one paying Act Today, the part of that sale, which is a great thing. A great thing
yeah,
by Amazon, a great thing that they do for the nonprofits, that are around. And I think it's right now with the pandemic, everybody, like we were saying earlier about how Zoom has become our friend, we've all become so much more technologically advanced now, right? Because we've had to. We're doing a lot more online shopping. So the
yep,
more online shopping we're doing, the more we're able to raise funds to care for, the iPads in families that need assistance and need equipment and things that quite frankly are life saving at times.
It adds up. Debbie just said that her sister donated almost $200 just with her Amazon purchases. So, like you
it
say,
adds up.
it's an event.
It
Yeah.
adds up. I didn't realize how late it had
We're
gotten.
out of time.
We had started late. But Vince, thank you so much. If people have questions and want to ask you, the best thing for them to email me and I forward them to you. What do you prefer?
Yeah, that's fine. Or they can email me directly at, I know Traven has the email address, v.redmond, Redmond, at centerforautism.com.
There you go. Thank you so much for always being
Thank
so
you,
willing. I
Vince.
hope that you and your family and your lovely wife and your girls have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
You ladies as well, your families, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Please, my love and peace to everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
That.
Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.